Hey guys, it's Mike.
It's Dan. Yo, Mikey, it's no secret that the ancient Chinese were credited with inventing things that we use every day.
That's right, we all know about the big four, right?
Yep, paper, which then they invented the process of.
Printing, and of course that gave birth to the first book.
They also invented gunpowder, which led to Chinese inventing crazy firearms and explosives.
And the compass, which basically all the famous explorers like Magellan, Marco Polo, and Christopher Columbus used to discover the New World.
Ironic, isn't it? A Western guy using an Eastern invention to explore what he thought was the East, only to land in the West.
Yeah, that's some made in China stuff right there. Anyway, the Chinese were also sailing in the high seas as far back as the 11th century.
Yeah, how come we don't see a mini-series about that, but instead we see like Marco Polo?
It's true, we never get enough credit.
Right?
Anyway guys, here are some everyday items that you probably did not know were invented by the Chinese. Number 1, A is for alcohol. Even though Dan and I don't drink alcohol, according to the internet, about 2 billion people around the world do. And if you're one of them, you can thank the ancient, and I mean ancient Chinese for that. The earliest archaeological evidence of the consumption of alcoholic beverages and thus fermentation dates back to Chinese Neolithic times from 7000 to 6600 BC.
Ancient pottery jars from the Neolithic village of Jiahu in Henan province in northern China were examined to reveal residue left behind by the alcoholic beverages, and after analysis, this ancient drink was found to be fermented with fruit, rice, honey. Not bad for 9,000 years ago.
Number 2, paper MOOLA, aka the banknote. Imagine if you bought a house or a car and you still had to bring sacks of gold or silver or copper coins. Wouldn't that be annoying and super heavy?
Well, luckily today you could just whip out a dollar bill, right? And you can thank the government of the Song dynasty for that, which lasted from 960 to 1279 AD. The central Song government in the early 12th century issued government printed paper currency alongside copper to ease the demand on their state mints and lower the value of copper, for economic and political reasons that I don't know of. But hey, buying stuff just became a whole lot easier.
Until credit cards. Number 3, the toothbrush. According to the Library of Congress, the Chinese have used the bristle toothbrush since 1498, which was the Ming Dynasty. The bristles were made from pig bristles, so basically you were brushing your teeth with stiff pig hair.
I still brush my teeth with pig hairs.
That's gross. Hey, how do you think people brush their teeth before toothbrushes? I mean, do you think they just kind of like rub their teeth on real hairy pigs? And that's how the toothbrush got invented?
But who invented mouthwash?
Oh, actually, it was the ancient Romans, and guess what? It was pee, which was good because you never really run out of that. Easy refills.
That's right.
All right, number 4, and we're moving on to a less gross topic. You'll like this one, Dan. The ancient Chinese invented soccer. That's right, the most popular sport in the world today, and ironically one that modern Chinese people really stink at. Soccer, or football, as you guys say outside of the US, was originally a game known as TOOTHBRUSH. According to 1st century Chinese texts, this sport, which roughly translates to kick the ball with the foot, obviously, is traced as far back as the Warring States period from 403 to 221 BC.
During that time, feathers were stuffed inside a leather ball which people kicked around in a rectangular playing field. Sounds familiar? And to score, you would shoot the ball through a primitive goal made of a piece of cloth that hung between 2 poles.
TOOTHBRUSH was also considered a military training exercise and a means for keeping soldiers fit, but eventually it grew so popular that it became a full-blown sport, with royal courts organizing matches with professional TOOTHBRUSH players.
Is that where Shaolin soccer came from?
I don't think Shaolin people were with the courts, man.
Oh, alright.
And like, you know, Shaolin people like added their own chi.
That was a good movie though, right?
Oh, that's crazy.
That was good,
that was
right?
Crazy. that was martial arts soccer combo, which actually they should invent something like that.
They should bring that back.
Next, number 5, and ladies, you really should go and give the next Chinese person you see a big hug, because the ancient Chinese also invented nail polish over 3,000 years ago.
Ancient nail polish was made up of egg whites, beeswax, dyes, gum arabic, and gelatin.
Yeah, that's we never tried that before when we tried our makeup.
I mean, you never tried it. Oh, no. I mean, I never wore nail polish, but I manicures. Manicures, guys, not nail polish.
Whatever. I don't believe that. Yeah, I don't believe. You
never tried nail polish.
No one's believing that, man. Just saying.
All right, next one. Mike, you know why Asians love taking photos?
Because we're crafty and we get into awesome photo-taking poses.
Well, besides those really good reasons, it was actually because the ancient Chinese invented photography. That's right, folks, before film cameras and iPhones, the concept of photography was derived from a device called the camera obscura, which basically is a pinhole camera. It's believed that the Greek philosopher Aristotle was the first to observe the principle of camera obscura. However, the earliest written record of the camera obscura is to be found in the writings of the ancient Chinese philosopher Mozi, who lived from 470 to 390 BC, which actually predates Aristotle by 100 years. Hey, you think that ancient Chinese people took pictures of their food?
Food pics?
Yeah.
You know, they probably have, and before that, they probably like painted it.
You know what?
Like the longest food selfie ever.
That's right.
Anyway, number 7. You know what else the Asians love, buddy, besides food and photography and all that stuff? Blackjack. The first reference to card games with playing cards were found in China as early as the 9th century during the Tang Dynasty. In famous Tang texts, Princess Tongchang, daughter of Emperor Yizong of Tang, was recorded playing the Leaf Game in 868 with members of the Wei clan, the family of the princess's husband. It's believed that playing cards made its way through Persia and India, then to Egypt in the 11th century, before being introduced to Europe in the 14th century, and eventually evolving and becoming popularized into the 52 card deck we know today.
Man, the cards back in ancient China would have been so much cooler. Like instead of the king, queen, jack, you would have like the Taoist master, Shaolin monk, and emperor. Moving on to number 8, the age-old debate of chopsticks versus fork has now once and for all been answered, and it's not even close. The ancient Chinese actually invented forks, so ha! And guess what? They chose chopsticks over that. Bone forks have been discovered at multiple burial sites dating back to the Xia dynasty. Europeans wouldn't even start using forks until like 4,000 years later.
Back in ancient China, forks were an exclusive dining tool for the ruling class and came in 2- and 3-pronged varieties like they do now. But basically, it was too hard to pick up food, so we got rid of it. Also, think about this. If you're stuck out in the wilderness or on a long camping trip and you forgot forks, what are you gonna do? Now, if you use chopsticks, just break off a couple of small branches from a tree and you're set. So chopsticks are better than forks, case closed.
How do you eat hot pot with fork? You don't. You know why?
Why?
Because you try to stab anything and the thing just floats away in the water.
Yeah, that's true. It's metal fork, so
it gets hot.
It gets hot. You can't use plastic because it melts.
Hands down.
Chopsticks win. Anyway, number 9. Hey, you guys know that red stuff you love to dig your fries in? Yep, Chinese people invented that as well. Ketchup actually means fish sauce in Fujianese, and this is where I wish Dan and I spoke Fujianese, but the chup in ketchup is actually zhi in Mandarin, so I guess ka or cat is fish. Anyway, back during the 1500s to 1600s, when Fujian was a busy seaport, Fujianese sailors learned of this fermented fish sauce from Vietnamese fishermen.
As the Chinese sailors continued sailing throughout the South China Sea, they also began making arak, the early ancestor of rum, which is made from combining distilled fermented red rice with molasses and palm wine. By the 1600s, British and Dutch merchants began buying hundreds of thousands of gallons of this arak, and subsequently, they also fell in love with their ketchup as well.
It wasn't until the 19th century that people first began to add tomato to ketchups. By the mid-1850s, the preserved anchovies had been dropped, and by 1890, the need for better preservation in the American sweet tooth led American ketchup manufacturers like Heinz to significantly increase the sugar content in ketchup, and the rest is history.
You know, ketchup is so good, I order fries just for the ketchup.
Yeah, and you have our Chinese ancestors to thank for that. When I go to Australia, they make you pay for ketchup. Like you go to a fish and chip place, right? No. And you order fish and chips, and they're like, you want tomato sauce with that? I'm like, yeah. Like, that'll be 50 cents per package, please. That's my failed Australian accent. But they make you pay for that. They make you pay for tartar sauce.
Oh man!
So I have my fish and chips were like what, $5, and then
ended up
I had to pay like $3 more for like ketchup and tartar sauce. Next time when I fly to Australia, I'm gonna stop by the airport McDonald's. I'm gonna load up on ketchup. I take it with me. And finally, number 10, the ancient Chinese are single-handedly responsible for possibly the most important invention of our time, toilet paper.
That's right, folks. Where would we be today if not for the advancement of dynastic paper usages, right?
Toilet paper was first mentioned by the official Yan Zhitui in the year 589 during the Sui dynasty, with full evidence of continual use in subsequent dynasties. By the 14th century, during the Yuan dynasty, it was written that 10 million packages of 1,000 to 10,000 sheets of toilet paper were manufactured annually in Zhejiang province alone. Dan, let me ask you, while the Chinese enjoy the luxuries of cleaning themselves with toilet paper, you know what the rest of the world is doing?
I don't know, using their hands?
Worse. The Romans, for example, used a sponge on a stick.
Ugh.
It gets worse. The sponge on a stick sat in a bucket of salted seawater when not in use.
Oh man.
And in communal bathrooms, meaning it was being shared among everybody using that bathroom.
Thanks, ancient Chinese people, for literally saving our butts.
You know what the Americans used to do? They use corn.
Oh man.
I would rather do that than use a communal sponge on a stick.
Anyways, guys, so that was the 10 everyday items that you had no idea were invented by Chinese people. I mean,
well, maybe they did. I don't know.
Maybe they did.
Maybe they're smart.
Maybe we missed some.
Yeah, well, also honorable mention, ice cream.
Right. Honorable mention, ice cream.
They're not sure. That's why we didn't put it in. They're not sure about ice cream.
It's debatable.
It's debatable.
Just like noodles are debatable too.
Debatable.
Right. What else is debatable? I mean, I would say those are the two big two, because people are like, oh, Chinese people invented ice cream, but I mean, I'm sure somebody at some point.
Well, who knows? Who knows? But you know what we did invent that I love?
What's that?
Hot pot.
We most likely invented hot pot.
We totally invented hot pot. It was the Mongolians, but come on, we're one big happy family because the Mongolians did rule China at one point.
I was actually really surprised when we were doing the research for this video that, and this could be another video, Chinese people actually invented so many different weapons. But how come they only get credited, or how come most people only know they invented gunpowder?
Well, the fact is we did lose a lot of wars against the global community.
That used weapons.
That used weapons that we invented. That's what I'm saying. Like, all the Chinese inventions were used against us at one point.
Right.
Like, the Europeans navigated to our country via our compass and printed their maps via our paper and printing process.
Brought their opium over.
Yeah, and shot us using our gunpowder and guns that we invented. Not so good, guys. Irony that is. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, please give it a share, give it a like, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Later.
See ya.